Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, welcome inside the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. I'm Rich Walsh. I'll be joined by Jason Mackey over in the studio in just a couple moments here, and we're going to be talking about the Steelers. You know what, Jason, that the line did not move that much after these three guys were announced that they weren't going to play. Larry Ogunjobi's out. DeShon Elliott, I think that's a huge loss on defense, and we knew George Pickens wasn't going to play. I was kind of surprised because, you know, these are three very important pieces, especially those two guys on defense going up against a guy like Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, I mean, that two very big keys to stopping him, Richie. DeShon Elliott, I think, has been so underrated in the Steelers' defense, especially in run support. Jalen Hurts in the passing game, it hasn't done a ton this season, but the Eagles really haven't asked much of their passing game because of how good Saquon has been. So, yeah, a little surprised that line hasn't moved, but at the same time, I think we had a pretty good idea what a challenge this would be for the Steelers, and it remains as such.
I don't know about you, but I just can't see the Steelers winning this one. I hope I'm wrong. I think out of these three games, it's a very tough, maybe the toughest three-game stretch of the season. You're facing the Eagles, then at Baltimore, then a quick turnaround against Kansas City. When you look at each one individually, you know, they haven't been good against the Eagles, especially in Philadelphia. Lost 10 straight, haven't won there since 1965. Plus, these three guys aren't playing. Then Baltimore, you would think you're going to split against a team like Baltimore. I think Baltimore's still one of the best teams in the NFL. And then the short week, and the Steelers are never good on short weeks. So they could conceivably go 0-3. I don't think that they will. And they can't go 0-3. They got to at least win one of these games.
Well, I would feel a heck of a lot better, Richie, if they could win this one. I know that much. I agree with you on Baltimore. I don't think the Steelers got anywhere near the Ravens' best the last time playing at their place. They're poised for a run here. I agree with you. I think the Ravens are one of the best teams in the NFL. And the Kansas City Chiefs, I don't know what to make of them. I don't know whether, they're just getting by on the skin of their teeth, or whether they're actually good and they just have some late-game magic with Patrick Mahomes. I kind of don't want to find out either. It would be nice if the Steelers could score some points and get a lead in that one. But in any case, for this one, I think the George Pickens loss is very big, too. I think they're going to have to put up some points against the Eagles to compete in this game. And I agree with you. It's tough to see a path forward for the Steelers. And I have that problem seeing it on offense, to be honest with you. The Eagles' defense is very, very good. They're very good in the secondary, too. Quinyon Marshall, their first-round pick, is excellent. He shut down so many good receivers. And right now, without Pickens to shut down, being able to concentrate on Mike Williams, Calvin Austin III, Van Jefferson, I mean, this is a depleted receiving core. I hope I'm wrong. I hope those guys go out there and play well. But, it's definitely worrisome.
I guess the positive about the Steelers offense, first of all, is Russell Wilson, who's been spectacular so far. But, losing a guy like George Pickens, and you could say arguably he's the team's best offensive weapon outside of Russell Wilson. But I would think a guy like Mike Williams could be the best option to replace a guy like him. And if he only has to do it a couple games, you might not miss him.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I think the Steelers were deficient in last week, Richie, was throwing downfield, taking shots, taking the top off of the defense. And they need to do that against the Eagles. If Mike Williams was brought here to do anything, it was that. Go downfield, catch balls along the sideline, stretch the defense a little bit. We know how well Russell Wilson throws those balls. I think this could be, if the Steelers win, this is sort of the thing that I'm circling, it's going to be because Russell Wilson spreads the ball around and Russell Wilson beats the Philadelphia Eagles with his brain. That's why you have a veteran quarterback. That's why you have somebody as savvy as Russ, because he's able to spread the ball around and make the Steelers appear a little bit better than they are. But that is a very tough task for the reasons that I outlined. This is also a really good pressure defense. They get after the quarterback. They stop the run. There's a lot of good numbers you can pull from Philadelphia. But, if they're able to block it up front and give Russ time, I do like Russ's chances of dissecting that defense.
Yeah, I think what you pointed out is the key. You got to spread the ball around. I think the last game he targeted 9 guys. The game before he targeted 10 guys. And that's what you're going to have to do to beat a team like the Eagles. And you're going to have to get a guy like Calvin Austin more involved. It's not because I just interviewed him and talked to him for a few minutes. He's the guy that is your deep play threat.
Yeah, he really is. Over the middle, too. I mean, Calvin Austin, all 5'8" of him, or whatever it is. But You know, like I said earlier with throwing downfield to Mike Williams, I mean, that's the same thing for Calvin Austin, and it's the same thing for a lot of guys. I'll add Pat Freiermuth to that list of guys that, you know, it's been trending in the right direction for Pat, but I would still continue to feed him the ball even more. I mean, go to your tight end, go to anybody. If they can establish the run with Najee Harris, I mean, it can be any manner of winning, any manner of figuring this out. I don't really care whose name is attached to it. It's just a tall task. I mean, I don't think they're going to win this game scoring 17 points, 21 points. Like, the Eagles are going to score. They're going to move the ball. Very few teams have been able to stop Saquon Barkley. So if the Steelers are going to win this thing, they're going to have to put it in the end zone.
Well, that's the tallest task. Stopping Saquon Barkley. Not too many teams have done it this year. The Browns did it, but that's it. And that's what we're going to talk about coming up after the break. Stay right there. All right, welcome back. This is our GMC tweet of the night. You could see it. DeShon Elliott among all defenders in Week 14. 8 defensive stops, tied for first. Jason, he's the best, I think, free agent acquisition for the Steelers this year. It's a close one between him and 26, Dante Jackson. But, you know, I really like, and Dante Jackson wasn't a free agent acquisition. I'm just saying pickups and changes for the Steelers. But no question he's the best, in my opinion. I mean, I guess you could put Patrick Queen up there, too. They're 1-2 in tacklers, and DeShon Elliott, 96 tackles so far, definitely has done more than I expected from him.
Yeah, I really like DeShon Elliott, Richie. I wrote a column, I think, 2 weeks ago now about DeShon and some of what motivates him. And you know what? He's going through a tough personal time, too, right now. He was telling me about before the season, found out his dad has cancer. He's very close to his dad. His dad has taught him his work ethic, how he plays. You know, he's not the flashiest guy, but he hits hard. He loves contact. I told him, I said, you fit in Pittsburgh. The way you play, that's the way Steelers fans and the Steelers want their safeties to play. It's just a perfect fit for him. It was neat hearing about his path here, and it involves Patrick Queen. Patrick Queen recruited him to come to Pittsburgh after Patrick Queen decided to sign here, and you can see why. They're good friends dating back to their time together in Baltimore. But, yeah, DeShon Elliott's been very active in the passing game. He loves contact. He's not afraid to stick his nose in there for a running play. And, yeah, it's tough, whether it's DeMonte KZ, whether it's Cam Sutton, whomever it is alongside Minkah Fitzpatrick. Tall task. Yeah, definitely. It's got to Anthony in Greensburg. How you doing, Anthony?
Hey, guys. Great show tonight.
Thanks
for
calling.
I got a question for you. Mount Washington, what are we doing here? Every time this guy's throwing the ball, he catches it. It's usually a big play. He mows people down. How, in God's name, are they not utilizing this guy more? He's a big play threat. They're not utilizing.
Yeah, Anthony, he's not the only one. Pat Freiermuth, for me, I think he should get more targets, too. I always thought he was like, maybe not a Travis Kelce, but, the closest thing to it for the Steelers. And they just started, I feel like, utilizing him and targeting him more the last couple games. So both those guys. And we thought we were going to see a lot of that with Arthur Smith's offense.
Yeah, I agree with Anthony in Mount Washington, or about Mount Washington, I should say. I thought last game was uncharacteristically quiet for Darnell Washington. Before that, they were utilizing him, maybe not downfield as much. Like, I don't need to see them throwing, 30, 40 yards to Darnell Washington, but he is definitely more than a glorified offensive tackle. He's shown an ability to get involved in the passing game. The only thing I don't like about the Steelers' offense, it sometimes seems like Arthur Smith is a little too eager to involve nondescript tight ends. So if it starts with if it starts with Darnell Washington, all of a sudden it involves Michael Pruitt, all of a sudden it involves Connor Hayward, and then you forget about Pat Freiermuth. So, Richie, I agree with you on Freiermuth, but if they involve Darnell Washington a little bit more this week, I wouldn't be upset about it.
And that's when they were becoming way too predictable, too. I think they've gotten away from it the last 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, there's a balance. There's a balance. If Russ is going to find 10 guys with the ball, which I think it's a great week to do that, involve Darnell Washington. Both things can be true. They need to throw downfield to Mike Williams and get him as a part of this thing, involve Calvin Austin. With no George Pickens, there's enough football to go around. And Darnell Washington has a place in this offense. I do believe that. But again, early in the season, they became overly fixated on the obscure tight ends, and that's not the way to go, in my opinion. We've also seen a couple defenses, Cleveland did this, where they're sort of vacating areas with linebackers, and the Steelers are just running backs out of the backfield. And honestly, it's a really good play. Just keep doing that. If that opens up against Philadelphia, I'm fine if Najee Harris and Jalen Warren combine for a dozen catches.
And they were fixated with using Cordero Patterson there.
Oh, please.
A little
please,
bit too.
stop.
Let's go to Will. McKees Rocks. How you doing, Will?
Hey, Richie. Hey, Jason. How you
Will.
doing tonight?
Thanks for calling.
Hey, thank you for taking my call, and happy holidays to all of you. And I just have a question for you about the Steelers and the Eagles. I saw last week in the game that they didn't use Justin Fields at all. Do you think that they're going to have some plays drawn up for him for this game?
Hey, you know what? That's a good question. They should, like the tush push, like you're going to see on the other side if they get the opportunity. I want to see Justin Fields involved. Maybe not as much as we saw him in that loss, but that loss to Cleveland. But, you know, there's a time and place for him to be used, and I think they should take advantage of it.
Yeah, I'm with you, Richie. I'd like to see more Justin Fields. I was a little surprised they went away from it. This, again, is kind of a balance thing, a play-calling balance. I don't want to see Justin Fields throwing 3rd and 4 in the fourth quarter with the first down that the Steelers have to get, something like that. That's why you brought in Russell Wilson. At the same time, Justin Fields has a lot that he can contribute. Have him involved in running plays. If you're going to have him throw, maybe throw something earlier in the game just to keep the defense honest. But, yeah, I mean, that is an element that has kind of gone untapped. I think it's an interesting balance to strike, though. You don't want to take the ball out of Russell Wilson's hands. You want to allow him to get into a rhythm. But, yeah, Justin Fields on the sideline, that's not really helping anybody.
Yeah, and you don't want to break that rhythm either. If once he's in a rhythm, you don't want to throw him off his game. Russell Wilson, that is.
Yeah, and I thought late in the first half against Cleveland at home, where the offense was kind of stagnant, I think they had started with 3 or 4 series and they went 3 and out. I thought that was a great time for Justin Fields. I was surprised they didn't do it there.
Yeah, and that game really turned. I mean, the Browns could have tied it up. Those 2 missed field goals were huge by the Browns at the end of the first half and at the beginning of the second half. It could have been a tie game. All right, let's go to Donnie and Carrick. How you doing, Donnie?
Hey, fellas, how y'all doing?
Good, thanks for calling.
Love your show.
Thanks.
I wanted to say something about Russell Wilson. He does take a lot of sacks. But my thing is, do you see he wears these gold shoes all the time? You think the opposing linemen see them underneath everybody else to know where he's running to?
Hey, you really go in depth on this one. I noticed the gold shoes, but I don't think it's anything different than what anyone else is wearing out there.
Yeah, I think they're probably keying on him because he has the ball.
Yeah.
Because he's the quarterback. I don't think it has anything to do with the gold shoes. I mean, that's like the color of a goalie's pads. In hockey, it's probably even more fabricated. No, I don't think his gold shoes have anything to do with the sack. I mean, Russ likes to throw deep. He likes to throw moon balls.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes you're going to hold it a little bit too long.
And he likes to throw in the middle of the field, which I like. But do you have a problem with him holding the ball too long? I don't.
No.
I mean, at times you can maybe question it, but I want him to make plays. And we saw that with Ben Roethlisberger. He would hold on to the ball, and he would eventually make plays. This is what Hall of Fame veteran quarterbacks do.
No quarterback is going to placate everybody watching them. And I think we've got a pretty good grasp on what Russell Wilson is as a quarterback at this point, Richie. And I have no problem with it, man. I mean, yeah, you're going to have some sacks. He doesn't have the mobility he used to have. But Russell Wilson is far and away the best quarterback for this team. I have no issue with that whatsoever. And I said it at the beginning of the show. I want them to take more shots downfield. I'd like to involve some of the downfield threats. With that comes some risk, especially, 2 of the past 3 games, you're playing really good pass rushers in Myles Garrett. It's going to happen.
Yeah, he's finding open guys, too. Let's go out to Chuck in Uniontown. How you doing, Chuck? Chuck, you there?
Hey, Chuck.
Yeah. Thanks, fellas. Change courses.
Okay.
Pirates off-season moves. To me, it smells and it stinks. It seems like the same old surrender stuffing in, where they're cutting payroll to improve the owner's pocket.
You know what? Let's clear this up, Mackey, because I was fired up yesterday when I read Noah Heil's story about potentially trimming payroll. That's why you want to sell off Mitch Keller. But, you got a little more to this story, don't you?
Yeah, let me clear this up. I even talked to Noah today to get the right sort of tone on this. I don't think payroll is going to go down at the end of it. At the end of the offseason, and Noah would agree with this, payroll is going to be between 85 and 90 million. And that was my expectation as well. Is it going to go down in the interim? Possibly. I don't want them to trade Keller. I don't think they're going to trade Keller. I really don't think or want them to trade Jared Jones. But let's just talk about Keller for a second. If they would move Keller out, it would be to move money in. And yes, I realize that stinks and that is frustrating, and I wish we all lived and worked in a market where you could just go and sign a first baseman. That is not possible here, unfortunately, and I'm not breaking any news to anybody. But if they want to improve their major league team, unfortunately, you're going to have to send dollars out to bring dollars in. So that's the kind of thing we're talking about for the Pirates offseason. I do expect that to happen. Not necessarily Keller, but I'm saying if they're going to make a trade, if they're going to add salary, they're probably going to have to send salary out. So, yes,
what would Keller attract? What are you looking for? An outfielder here?
Yeah, I mean, you can get an outfielder. You can get a capable major league bat. And, I mean, Richie, I'm against this. I am philosophically against trading pitching, especially for a team like the Pirates where you're not going to go out and spend on pitching. But Keller can bring a bat back that they need, and that's what they would be looking to do. Somebody to, come in and hit 4th, 5th, 6th, something in their order, and probably play the outfield at this point.
Real quick before we go to break here, why do you think they haven't been too active in free agency right now? Are they just waiting to see?
Have you looked at this team, Richie?
How it unfolds?
Richie, come on. Do I need to hold up a Pirates hat? I mean, no. I mean, a lot of the times what the Pirates are shopping for, like these guys aren't committing on December 13th. They're just not. Like the Pirates are, one of the last dogs at the bowl, and they're having to wait it out, and they're never active at this point in December. I don't like it. I wish it was different. I wish they could sign a guy to a multi-year deal. But generally, if you're looking at a guy who has an option to sign a multi-year deal, he has stuff from other teams, and he might be trying to get things from other teams, and he's reticent about committing to the Pirates. So, yeah, that's why this stuff takes more time than people would like.
Yeah, they're not going to get into a bidding war. We got to take a break. Back in a couple minutes.